Hello, scrappers. Back again. Yeah, chances are you guys have been getting a few of these things off of grills, and this is the time of the year to get them. Summertime. Sometimes in the spring, people get out there, start grilling, and see their grill is rusted out and rotted out. So they go out and get a new grill, or they might get one for Father's Day. So we'll go ahead and tear these apart and see what we got. Now we got a piece of brass on this end, and we got our brass piece in the center. Now a lot of these are 19 millimeter. Not all of them. Let me see if I got a wire brush to get this cobweb off of here. Hand broom. What a mess. Piece of plastic. I got so that one, it came right out of there, and this one here, it seems like the plastic's still around the end, so I'll probably have to either cut it or just take it and hit it good with a hammer. I do have one of these that's 18 millimeter. So drop it on the floor. I think it's this one. Nope. That one there is round. Now, see, that one doesn't want to punch through either. So I'm wondering, can I just hit it? I think that punched it most of the way through, but not quite all the way. Need to get it elevated a little bit. If you guys don't have a bench vise, one of these little drill press vices work pretty good. I say I'll elevate that brass a little bit. Punch right out. Of course, now we've got a piece of plastic on here that was holding it. That one came right off. But this one might. I'll go ahead and hit it lightly with the angle grinder. Flat blade screwdriver. That's about the majority of your brass right there. And then what I like to do is, let's check. Get the magnet. Okay, magnet's not sticking here. So let's check that before we go too far. Let's see if it's stainless or... Yeah, I saw some sparks fly, so I'd say that's stainless. A lot of these are brass. I think that one's brass. That one could be copper. That one's probably stainless. And turn it upside down. I'll get the other side of that brass nut. Should say brass fitting, not brass nut. Yeah, we do have another little piece of brass there, so I guess I'll go ahead and make the cut like I was going to. If it was all brass, I would have cut the whole thing all the way down, so I'll go ahead and do that now. So you still have a piece of brass up inside the hose, so I'm using this vise instead of having to go back and forth to the big vise. But if you limit it on space, and if you wanted to, you could always bolt this down to the bench too. If you're limited on space or just starting out and don't have a lot of funds, one of these might be cheaper. Okay, now we got a couple little pieces of stainless here. It's a magnet. Well, the magnet does stick to that one, doesn't it? Yeah. And this is the one that has the rounded off one that I couldn't get out. I think I'm going to have to put a bigger blade on my angle grinder. That one's about wore out. I'm just going to hang this one right here for the time being. And if we take a look at this one, of course, then again, this one here has still got the looks like stainless steel. We'll know if we see sparks. Yeah, well, that is definitely sticking there. Yeah, do this in a well ventilated area because that rubber burns and gets a little stinky. Burnt rubber. Which I got 6-foot doors to the north and 6-foot doors to the south, so gives me pretty good ventilation. Well, did I only cut one spot? That's what it looks like. There it's coming. Grab the pliers here. On this end I go ahead and try to cut in there too, but you'll end up cutting into the housing here. Yeah, probably didn't go deep enough. Okay, as you can see that there's stem sticking down that the hose goes on here is aluminum. And we'll cover that here in a minute. That hose can get thrown out. I'll try to knock out a couple of these real quick. Yeah, I was thinking before I started the video, I was thinking, should I go ahead and change blades in the angle grinder? I thought, no, I think I got enough blade there. If I got enough, it's probably just going to be barely enough. See, now that looks orangish, so that looks more like copper. Make sure the magnet doesn't stick to that. It's either copper or it's red brass. I might have to grab a box knife. Trim that piece of rubber just a little bit. There we go. Now this one looks like it's, the crimping piece is brass. Really, if it's brass, you don't have to cut all the way through the nut, which I did on that first side, and most of the second side. But really, you don't have to, because you can split the hose, and it doesn't matter if that piece stays in there or not. So, just a little note there. We're getting a little pile of brass here. I'll go ahead and cut this off of here real quick. Let me reach over here and hit the on button on the scale. Get an idea how much we have there. Yeah, this little vise is working out pretty good. Yeah, let me tighten that back down there. Here we go. Okay, that's all the rubber. Now we'll leave this piece off because I might throw in the copper. We'll throw all this brass, yellow brass, on top of the scale. .4 ounces, so almost 3/4 of a pound there, off of what, basically three of these. Now on this part, you see these are a little different, but they're all basically the same. I'm not sure if this is going to work right here doing this, and sometimes doing this part, it might have been a good idea to just to leave the a couple inches of the rubber hose on there. But you're basically going to just be pulverizing this thing. I guess I could hold on to it with some vice grips or something. Keep your hand out of the way anyway. And after a few hits, you'll see it'll start to separate. You just got to get in there, pry it apart. Excuse me for getting in front of the camera. And this is just sheet aluminum here. Let me zoom in here. And here you have a little metal piece, magnet sticks. I just pull that out. Now this bottom piece, that could be brass if you wanted to. So you got a little piece of brass here on the bottom if you wanted to try to. Yep, let's see. Let's pull the rubber back. And that's basically just hooked onto that spring. So I'm thinking if I can just cut the tip of that off. I'll go ahead and get the bigger part. Here we go. Cut the tip off. Then we'd have another small piece of clean brass. But in this piece, you'll see a pin running across right here, and that's magnetic. So usually you can just get up underneath here and pry it out one way or another. Bench vise works wonders for a lot of this stuff. But it looks like it was put in there and then just kind of smashed down to kink it in. I think I'll put it in the vise to kind of hold it. Now this would probably work a lot better if this vise was bolted down to the workbench. You see, I just pop that up, just prying up. That's probably a piece of cast aluminum with that little pin going through it. So you can probably pull the pin. And I'll just put this on the grinder real quick. I wasn't planning on doing this, but since we're here, and I usually check this stuff anyway, you can see where I ground it. That was sprayed with some copper sulfate. It turned dark right away, so that's got a lot of zinc in it. So sometimes I'll call that die cast or pot metal. If it stayed bright and shiny, then it'd been cast aluminum. So Anyway, that's about all there is to cleaning these things up. Like I say, this one here is nice and round in there, so I'll either have to cut it here or try to smash it real hard where it shatters. Like I said, for hitting them, if you got, you know, a little piece of hose out here, it's a lot easier to hit that on a good solid surface. Gives you something to hang on to. But like I said, you can always use vice grips or pliers, whatever, channel locks. But I get a few of these that aren't notched. All the ones that are notched are either 18 or 19 millimeter, which for those that don't know, 19 millimeter is also 3/4 standard. So I'm going to give this one a shot real quick, see if we can break it. They're pretty tough. We'll bring that in. Yeah, very tough. I'll probably have to just take the Sawzall to it or something. Yeah, gotta take the saw to it. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And share it with your friends. Now that cutting disc I use, that's a Go Yonder cutting disc. I got those on my Amazon affiliate link. There would be a description, or link in the description below the video. And I think that's about all I've got to say. I don't know, but yeah, summertime, you see a lot of grills, and the easiest grills are probably your charcoal grills. If they're all tin, you just toss it in with a shred, you know. And if they got the aluminum top and bottom, those you got 2 pins on the side and a couple of little keeper clips. Pull them keeper clips out, knock those pins out, and then top comes off. Then you'll have four bolts where it's bolted to the frame. Just hit those bolts, give it a good solid whack with a hammer, and it'll crack and shatter right around them bolts, and then that base will just come right off of there. So we'll see you guys in the next video. So happy scrapping.